What's going on, guys? Captain Cody Davis here. Welcome back to another episode of Tight Splice Charters. Getting my rods and reels rigged up for tomorrow's trip, obviously out here on Lake Okeechobee, and just wanted to give you guys one of my monthly fishing reports. Now, I know I say monthly, and I haven't done one in probably 5 months. I don't know when the last one was. So I'm going to try and get back into that routine for you guys of doing one each and every month. A lot of you guys find them very helpful, informative. You guys look forward to them. So I appreciate you guys watching them, and I'm going to try and get back on that routine to do them for you. So we're going to get into that. I'll let you guys know kind of what's been going out on the lake, out on the lake, and kind of what I foresee happening to the lake here over the next couple of months, how I see it setting up, what I think is going to happen, things along those lines. And then at the end of the video, I've got some fish catches for you guys from a morning that I had, just about a week ago that turned out totally awesome. Caught some really nice big fish doing a few different things. And I'll kind of dissect that and let you guys know what we were doing and what the deal was and blah, blah, blah. So we will get right into the fishing report here. So end of April, going into May, nothing's been consistent. Right? Everything's been very, not random, but it changes day to day. One day you're a hero, one day you're a zero, totally down here out of frame, like you can see. That's been my experience anyway, right? So there's fish all over the entire lake. There's fish right out here in South Bay. There's fish up on the north end of the lake where I fished this morning. There's fish all the way down the shoal, all the way back in the monkey box, everywhere. Literally everywhere there's fish, right? The problem is, to do very well, you got to find spots within spots right now. That's what I've noticed, right? Like, you might get bit in this area, a little bit, but you're going to get your giant bites and the mass majority of your bites right here, kind of thing, right? Like, there's always a spot within a spot no matter where in the lake you're fishing right now. That's what I've come to find out. The deal is, this spring, last year was this time of year was some of the best fishing I've ever experienced personally on Lake Okeechobee, right? And I thought this year was going to be the same. Problem is, the water was like 3 feet lower last year, right? We're at about 14.25 foot above sea level. So it's dropped about a foot since probably the last time I spoke to you guys, which doesn't seem like much, but what you guys have to realize is Lake Okeechobee is far from steep. Right? If you go from the outside grass line on the main lake and go about a half mile, 3/4 of a mile out into the lake, you're probably going to have about a foot of depth change, right? Lake Okeechobee is very flat, so a foot of water is a lot. 6 inches, 4 inches of water on this lake is a ton. So the lake is coming down, which the lake needs because it's going to condense the fish into certain areas, group them up, which helps us, and it's going to save that grass that's we need so badly to stay healthy and stay growing. It's going to help it not drown out, rip any cattails out from high winds or anything. It's going to strengthen it and let more grass grow. So the lake's coming down, which is great. So like I said, the lake was a lot lower last year. And, come back, I think it was like the first week of March, we had our last cool front of the year last year. After that, it turned straight into spring, warm temperatures, warm nights, and it just got gradually warmer throughout the spring and summer. And it was very stable. Right? And those fish were just setting up perfect. You could follow them. When you caught them in one spot, you'd catch them there for 2 weeks. And then you just kind of follow them into their new areas. But they're very, not predictable, but they were easier to follow. Problem is, this year, it's just been real up and down. When it's been warm, it's been August, right? It's been steaming hot, 100% humidity, no wind, 90-degree temperatures, just brutally hot. And then you get a slamming cold front, which even if it would get really cold, but even if it didn't get really cold, it'd blow 35 mile an hour out of the north for 3 days, right? So not only are you having air and water temperature changes, but you're having wind direction changes daily. This week, the past 5 days, it has blown a different direction every single day, and it's been doing that for the past couple of weeks. So what's that do? Dirties up water, moves a lot of bait around. By bait, I'm meaning shad, which is what these fish are going to start to focus on here, especially in the early morning hours here over the next couple of months. Dirtying water, it's just messing everything up. It's not letting fish set up in certain areas. It's making certain areas unfishable, moving a lot of water around. And that's what's making it difficult. You can't predict where these fish are going to be and follow them. So, but when you do find them, you're a hero, right? You smash them. And that's kind of been the deal. So you got a little bit of everything going on. Like I said, when it's warm, you got to be fishing the conditions. You got to be fishing the conditions no matter what right now, in my opinion, right? So on those warming days where it's slick, no wind, miserable, fish it like you're fishing in August, right? The lake's been fishing, it shows out. I'm finding fish right now in areas that they aren't typically in until July. And I'm catching fish right now in areas where they should have been gone since February. See what I'm saying? Like there's fish just spread out all over the map doing different deals. On those warmer days, right? Popping frogs, Zara spooks, throwing a lipless around, trying to find schooling fish, and have found some schooling activity on the lake. Both on the main lake, on the outside, and in the inside in the rim canal. Some of those summertime fish are already starting to show up in those spots. Throwing the big swim jig and flipping has not really shown out yet, right? Like this time last year was all about flipping that big jig, flipping that beaver style bait, and trying to imitate brim. I myself have not really made that work yet, haven't dialed anything in where that really has been excelling for me. The frog has been, no doubt, when you get the conditions lined up, but as far as that flipping bite, it just hasn't turned on for me yet, but maybe some of you have something different to say about that. Throwing the swim jig though has worked. It's a good way to cover water. Still a bigger profile, so I've been getting some bites on that. And throwing a swimming worm, right? Throwing that gambler burner worm around, covering water, ticking eelgrass, and catching fish that are kind of on their way to the outside has been great. And then the best thing about that bait is you could take it way to the inside where we still do have some fish coming in to spawn. As of yesterday, I saw bass locked on beds, right? So that burner worm's a great way to cover water. You could dead stick it, you could drag it just like a regular ribbon tail worm, fish real slow, and catch fish that are both moving to the outside and fish that are spawning. And I have been doing that with that. On top of that, throwing a moving bait like a Gambler Big Easy. I know I sound like a broken record, but I really only use the same 10 baits here, 365. But that Big Easy's been getting a lot of bites. Burning it. Swimming it subsurface hasn't been doing anything for me, but if I'm way in the back, good way to cover water. A lot of chopped grass and loose grass on top that's going to get stuck on baits like chatterbaits and swim jigs. That Big Easy buzzes right over the top of it. You don't have to clear your hook of your bait or anything. And it's just been getting really good reaction strikes from post-spawn and pre-spawn fish and fish that are locked on beds. Also in the back, if you can find water that is deep enough and the eelgrass isn't choked out enough, a chatterbait has been amazing. A lot of big fish being caught on chatterbaits right now. Black and blue or white has been the deal because typically the areas that have been producing with the chatterbait have been in some dirtier water. And that's just kind of been the deal for me also. I've been catching a lot of fish on a bladed jig. Find clean water right now, and by clean, or I shouldn't say clean, find fishable water, right? We've been catching a lot of fish in some dirtier stuff. Find fishable water with a lot of bait activity and good grass. There's fish there. What I've come to find out over the past couple of weeks, these fish have definitely been biting in little bite windows. You'll sit on an area for 45 minutes with nothing, and then for 15 minutes, all hell breaks loose, and then it's a wrap for another hour and a half. If you get bit, slow down. If you have power poles, use them. Put your poles down, milk an area for everything it's worth before you pick up. You might only want to go 30 feet forward before you pull down again. That's kind of how it's been. A little bit of everything going on out there. As far as, if they keep dropping this water, it's going to get good, right? It's already good some days, but it's going to get more consistent. They got to keep dropping this water, condensing all them fish, pulling them out of the marsh and the backwater areas and putting them on the outside of the main lake grass line where they need to be and want to be. The bait is showing up. You go and you can see the shad flicking. You can see birds working. Things are going to happen. As far as the bluegill, they did come up to spawn, but we haven't seen big numbers of bluegill yet. So we're probably going to see the shad spawn first, which if you guys want to come down and fish, it is a ball. It's a first light deal. You fish for the first hour in the morning. You can catch all you want on any kind of white moving bait that's imitating a shad. Catch lots of numbers. Once that goes away, you pull out the big stick with the big jig or the frog, and you're fishing for maybe 2 bites the last 2 hours of the day. But they're going to be the ones you want. They're going to be giant ones. So that should be shaping up here soon. If they keep dropping the water also, these fish want to get out on the main lake and start schooling on shad. and just schooling in general. You know, those days where you can power pull down and catch 50 to 60 fish on a lipless or a rattle trap, crank and square bill, what have you. They should be getting ready to start happening right now. I have not seen it full force yet, but it's going to be happening. So definitely look forward to all that stuff coming to fruition here out on Lake Okeechobee. As long as these conditions stay stable, we can get wind. We can get wind to die, or if we get wind, we can get it to blow the same direction for a week or two, right? That would be just grand. So that's that. Lake shaping up good. Let's talk about this morning that I had on the lake just about a week and a half ago. So as far as you guys, some of you guys know, I am a huge snook fisherman, right? Snook is my obsession. I'm obsessed with them, been obsessed with them my whole life. And I got to go fishing with a gentleman named Captain Dale Ash, who calls himself the Jupiter Snooker. Any of you guys are on Instagram, definitely be sure to follow him. He also has a YouTube channel. So I believe it's just Jupiter Snooker on YouTube. I'll put the link in the description below. Wow, that was a real YouTuber statement. Isn't that what every YouTuber says? I'll link it in the description below. Well, that's what I'll do. Dale is a super awesome guy. My first time actually meeting him. And just been kind of going back and forth with him on social media for a couple years. And he hit me up, wanted to go on the lake, and we made it happen. And just super cool to pick his brain about snook fishing. If you guys come down here to do some bass fishing with me, definitely give him a call to go try and get yourself a big snook here this summer or whenever. He lives where they're at, and I tell people, I'm a huge snook fisherman. It's one thing to be a good snook fisherman. It's another total thing to be a good snook guide, right? And he is probably one of the most consistent I've ever seen, right? So definitely check him out on YouTube and on Instagram, Jupiter Snooker, right? But anyway, met him, got him out on the lake, and like I do with all my clients, I'm probably the most honest guide you'll ever meet. I'm going to tell you how it is, and it might not be what you want to hear sometimes, but I'd rather just keep it real with you. So I picked him up. I told him, hey man, it's been slow, right? It's been a grind. We're going to have to really work for him this morning. But it is what it is. Sorry about it. Started talking, went through the locks at Clewiston, laid down in the spot, and started trolling motoring up there. It was a little windy, and Dale asks me, what should I start out with? And I looked down at his rods, and he had a frog, a flipping rod, and a white spinnerbait, kind of like this one, except I think he called it a Stanley wedge. Does that sound right? I forget. Anyway, it looked like his great-great-grandfather's spinnerbait, right? Old, hadn't been used in forever. He's like, yeah, no, I used to catch him on this. I'm like, well, listen, it's set up good for a spinnerbait right here. I don't ever throw one, but be my guest. And I think it was his second cast, he caught a fish, and then his fifth cast, he caught a 7-pounder or 6-pounder, whatever it was. Insane. And Dale just put on a clinic with that spinnerbait for the first hour of the morning. I mean, I don't think he would ever go more than 5 casts without catching one. I was throwing that bladed jig in and around him, and I'd catch a fish here and there, but that spinnerbait really excelled. So, like I just mentioned in the report, these fish are going to want to start getting on shad, right? We had wind blowing in there into the spot, not at a high speed, but just enough to blow current in there. It was blowing some colored water in there, and I'm sure it was blowing shad in there, right? We saw shad flicking and stuff, and especially in a low light situation, first thing in the morning, a bait like a spinnerbait really does a good job at imitating them and getting them to come up and eat it. So he caught a lot of fish on that. After that, again, going back to that whole spot within the spot, we were fishing the area where I won the ABA, which has turned into the biggest community hole Lake Okeechobee has ever seen. Just a quick little side note, fished the Roland Martin Marine Series tournament this Saturday, and we just murdered it, man. We had, I think, 1 12-inch fish. Nice, right? We fished that area. And that area, when I won the ABA, there shared it with 1 boat. And Rick Mitchell, if you're watching this, that was you. Never saw another boat all day. Fished in there this past weekend. There were 46 boats in this spot, 47 counting me and Kelly. Insane. Win a spot that could support 6 boats comfortably. It was the craziest thing ever. I'm not using it as an excuse whatsoever. I should have adjusted Everyone went in there. Every tournament's been being won in there. Big bags have been coming out of there. It wasn't just because people saw me win in there and people saw the, it was nothing to do with that. It was just a mix of, it was a great spot is what it was. And people found out about it. So, I'm trying to think what I was going to. Oh, anyway, so spot within the spot, right? So Dale did a really good job of catching some really nice fish on that spinnerbait. I caught some on the chatterbait. And we'd kind of go through this area and let it rest, come wrap around to reed, come back, and you'd catch a few more. And then it kind of started not slowing down in that spot, but it was a little bit more difficult. Dale said, do you think it'd be a good idea to power pull down and just throw a worm in there? That's what we did. Came back around the 5th time, put the poles down, threw that gambler burner worm out there, or did a little bit of everything. Gambler burner worm or just any Senko style bait like this. Throwing it on, we were both throwing it on 20-pound fluorocarbon and a lightweight, and just milking that area. What it was just kind of a hole in the eelgrass. There was a few holes in this set of eelgrass, but this hole was just happened to be set back in a pocket where water was funneling to it, right? So it was just all the makings for a great spot. Milked it with those with the worms and the Senkos and caught some really, really nice fish on that. And then, like I said, right, it was a little cool, it was blowing, it was kind of wintertime conditions. Then what happened? The wind kind of started to die, the sun came out and it turned to be 98 degrees or something crazy, right? Conditions changed. They didn't necessarily get off of that bait, but who likes fishing a worm that slow when you can do something cool like throw a popping frog? I picked up the frog, got bit was getting bit pretty regularly on the popping frog, and then Dale decided to just put on a clinic with that as well. He kicked my ass this day. So super cool, caught a lot of really nice fish, and yeah, it was just a super fun morning. I think we were back at Roland Martin's Marine Center at like 11:45, and we were done. Dale was like, dude, we can go in, done. I can go pick my kids up from school, wife's happy. We always back home watching TV on the couch in the AC. It was great. And color didn't matter on the frog. He was throwing just like a natural frog color. I don't even know this color, the one I showed you in the last video I bought. It didn't matter. They were eating it up. So super fun. Frog, chatterbait, spinnerbait, worm. Caught some fish flipping as well, but nothing big. So that was super fun. And like I said, you just got to kind of roll with it and adapt as the days go on, because our conditions have just been so unstable. You just got to fish the conditions that you have in front of you at the time. That's kind of been the name of the game out here on the lake. So already at like 18 minutes. I don't know how I just love talking fishing, but I rant. And then I expect for this intro to be 3 minutes and I'm up to 20 and the fish catches haven't even came yet. So I'll put them in the back of this video. Again, Captain Dale Ash, I'm going fishing with him in August. Can't wait. And he's just on another level when it comes to putting people on giant snook and any other inshore species that they have around Jupiter. So definitely check him out. Check out his YouTube channel. Has some of the craziest topwater bites you'll ever see. All you topwater guys are probably going to pick the phone up and ask him his availability once you see it. And I appreciate you guys watching the video. I appreciate you guys liking, subscribing. Do it. I'm going to keep trying to put out as much content as I can for you. I am going to be getting into my slower season, so hopefully I have some time to get out there and do some fishing for myself and make some more content for you guys, because I miss it. So that's it. Thanks again. Enjoy the videos.
Now, when you throw the jig like on the boat, like, there you go. Yeah, it's a big one, bro. You're gonna be pulling hard as hell. It ain't bad though. It ain't bad. See how much darker that fish is? Yeah. Fish has been in for a while. Another one. Chewing. That's just kind of a goofball. He's kind of a goofball. That's the thing I like the most about him, actually. Yeah, exactly. He's just like, you know. His goofy self. But like, so. Oh my gosh. Crushed. That was sick. Crushed. That's not a bad one either. The wedge, son. The wedge, son. Wow. Busting out the 10-year-old Stanley wedge. Look at this guy. I might have to put a... There we go. Hey, like that? Oh, holy shit, dude. Nice job, man. Yes. Woo. I've gotten personally good at that, and I can coach people at it pretty good now. So that helps. Because you can't just, they don't want, generally, they don't want to just keep going and going and going and going and going. You gotta be able to throw a pause in when they turn and do all this good stuff. Once they get,
There you go. I was just about to say that comes back to a frog.
there you go.
Took your head off. They'll boil it and you gotta like,
Ease them up.
yeah. These are the big ones.
Yeah, this one's like really pleased with himself. Yeah, it's a strong one.
That ain't a bad one.
None of them have been bad. I have all three of us in the inlet throwing jigs. And nothing. Just like nothing. And he's like, but he knows, like, I catch him because he followed me Instagram. Fishing in like 3 hours. I think I caught one on here. And we're winding down. Dead, tide is dead low. Like, dead. Not moving. Not bad. Not bad. Going in the well.
Nothing wrong with that one. The damn worm. We needed to wear button-down shirts with patches on them today. Culprit.
And 14-pound stern.
Yep.
Not strand, stern.
Stern.
What do you think? Well or not?
Yeah, put them in there. What the hell?
What do you have in there? 3 in there right now?
I don't know. We can always let some go. That well's a freaking.
Where's that big one?
Big one was.
Right at the beginning of this, wasn't it?
No, it was over there.
Was it?
See how much darker that fit? Yeah, see how much darker? So that fish has been in here for a while. Got him coming and going. So, me and my partner will probably try it on the way here. Use the channel.
Yeah.
Good one, dude. Hell
Yeah, I see.
yeah. Probably a little better. Good white one, man. Reload.
Speed worm.
This guy's on fire.
Saw him on the water like a week before. It's like, yeah, we were out here all week because my son's spring break. And oh man,
Look, she's peeing. Look, he's peeing all over the boat. That ain't,
it's not me.
that's not pee. They're in.
Nice, dude. Hey, where'd you hook that fish?
Another good one. You know, I do most of the time. but
Doesn't seem like it matters. Nice, dude. Nice.
just subtly hitting right.
And then they throw it. I think it's gonna line up pretty well for that to happen, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, even if you take a hard.
What do you got in?
Yeah, it's fun. I enjoy it. I like it. It wasn't for the boats, and it's great. I wasn't ready to set the hook. Might be good, I think. He might be big. That's like the second one, dude, that's eating on me this with rock. Like I wasn't even ready. I just You think well? Put us in the well, or?
Yeah,
It's pretty fat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little, dude. I'll chunk it.
Show me the camera.
Yeah. Little tubs. Little tub.
Those Falcon rods still hold up too pretty good. They make awesome baskets.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll. I wish I had. I have no bass stuff for this.
Right.
But I know when I go to Texas, start posting pictures. You're like, what the hell? Should have let us know. Yeah, they've been nice, dude. That whole series is nice. That past special for an off-the-rack jig rod.
Yeah.
Awesome. 140.
There you go. Ain't bad. Mine belongs in a fish tank.
Junior, senior.
Yep. Mine's out there.
And so he wants to take. A warmer burner.
Good one, right? Yeah.
Size large. She was hooked in the lower jaw. Shunkers.
Go ahead.
They got in shape, but then I moved down here and like, we actually have it now. We shut it down. Yeah. It gets reopened. So I got it. How old are you? 46. Holy shit, dude. I put you in late 30s.
Yeah.
I'm not even, obviously, I'm not. Holy shit. See, that's good.
Yeah.
You can do this for a long freaking time, man. And I tell you, like, I want to do it. I look at all these old timers out here, they look like they're going to die. And they're fit.
Oh, God! Come on!
Come on! Barely hit.
Boom!
Dude.
We just gotta keep talking.
Yeah, I know.
Throwing frogs.
Holy sheesh. Holy crap, dude. Look at the gut on that thing. This man's on fire.
So that way they know, like, pause. I paused it, freaking hammered it.
Dude, this is getting out of hand.
I paused and he hammered it. On the pause.
This is insane.
That one will not be able to use because I'm talking about business.
I know. I could always edit
Once
it.
you get the hit.
Well,
Put some music.